So hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. This is Surbhi and we are discussing here a new topic on Perspective 360 degree. Perspective 360 degree is meant to guide you for current affairs topics for descriptive writing part of your examination, that is phase 2 part. If you're preparing for regulatory bodies examination with RBI, NABARD or SEBI, then this initiative is definitely going to help you gain a lot of insights for descriptive writing in various sections of your examination cycle. Also, the beautiful part about this initiative is that we also take your responses for free evaluation. That means you can practice answer writing or descriptive writing, in other words, with us. If you post your sample answers in the comment section under this video in the next 48 hours, that is by Sunday 5 p.m. then our team experts will evaluate your answers entirely free of cost and will provide you with a comprehensive evaluation so that you can improve your answer writing skills and get better and increase your chances of making it to the final list. So all said and done, kindly let me know in the chat section if the audio is clear. And today I think I know the concern that all of you have and that I'm going to get in the chat section. In fact, I'll be disappointed if I don't get it in the chat section. So good evening, Sejal, Gomati, caption FF. Okay, so I see that a lot of you are still joining me, are coming live. Is the video clear, guys? And audio, can you see properly? I hope there is no lag. So yes, the previous session on payment banks, that is date 67 of Perspective 360 degree. It was meant to be a recorded premiere session. It wasn't a live one, but the fault there on my end that was that the video content that you had was for World Economic Forum, a content or a topic that we had already covered on Perspective 360 degree. So we have taken a note of that and that video would be deleted. For many of you, it might not be visible as of now. So for those of you who want to cover World Economic Forum, kindly click on the playlist of Perspective 360 degree. You will find all the topics including that topic there. Secondly, the content coverage for payment banks would be done tomorrow, that is on Saturday. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. there will be a recorded premiere of payment banks, that is day 67, and from there you can cover the topic. The process will follow the same thing. You'll get the PDF on the next day on Telegram. But today we are doing day 68 and the topic for today is coaching culture. So I hope everything is clear regarding the topic of payment banks and there are no doubts. You won't be missing out on anything. You'll be given 48 hours to send your answers to that topic as well. So don't worry. Caption, kindly contact our team for that. So I hope there is clarity regarding the information provided, guys. Shivam, Kataria, sorry. All right. So welcome back all of you and good evening and welcome again. The topic for today is coaching culture. I'm sure that all of you or most of you must be impacted by this. You must have some personal experiences regarding the coaching culture or the coaching industry. One of the coaching institutes which benefited you or which didn't quite much. So the challenge with such topics is that there is a lot of subjectivity involved, there are a lot of emotions involved, but the challenge here is to sail through and bring out objectivity in your answers if we are asked a question from this topic. And this topic is not going to be just important from phase 2 descriptive writing for ESI, FM topics like that. It will be very important for your interview and for the English writing skills. So kindly take a note. All right, so moving on. In January 2024, the Ministry of Education, there is Department of Higher Education in Ministry of Education, they launched guidelines for regulation of coaching centers in India. These are like 11 pages guidelines and they have issued these guidelines recently. Once they come into effect, then you will see a lot of regulation being carried out in all the coaching centers in the country. Then, following that, there were a lot of articles how coaching culture lets children down. This was covered in Indian Express this week. Then Economic and Political Weekly, which is our gold mine for good content. They also in their latest issue of February 10th covered an article called Coaching Culture Conundrum. And this is a snapshot for you regarding how the coaching centers work. Now, despite of all the news articles, there is so much hush-hush around the coaching centers. There is a lot of subjectivity in this topic, whether you have to speak in favor of them while you yourself must be in need of a specific coaching for cracking a similar examination for which these guidelines have been brought out. So we'll cover all the aspects of coaching culture, the coaching industry. Does India need it? Can India do without it or not? So everything will be covered. For those of you preparing for RBI Grade B examination, that is a topic called employment generation in India. So somewhere coaching culture relates with employment generation in India in the ESI part. Previously you had a broader syllabus for RBI Grade B, which included topic of education also. So now topic of education under social structure in India is not explicitly mentioned, but implicitly you can still be asked questions with regards to education where coaching culture or coaching industry holds relevance. And for English writing skills, this is a very important topic, so take note. For NABARD Grade A, the topics of education, status and system of education, socio-economic problems associated with illiteracy, educational relevance, educational wastage, everything is mentioned explicitly in your syllabus. So kindly note that this topic is very important from that point of view. For SEBI Grade A, since the syllabus does not have a lot of subjective topics, you have a paper of English writing skills where this topic can be asked separately. So now first of all, let's look at the expected question. The expected question here is going to talk about why is there, such a conspicuous coaching industry in our country? Why do we have such a broad-based coaching industry or coaching culture? Why is it prevalent in India? Secondly, are there any changes required? Are there any regulations required? Do we need to put a ban on the coaching industry? And can we put a ban on the coaching industry? So these are all the aspects that should be there in your mind, and some facts regarding how big this industry is that should also be kept in your mind. Also, this topic is going to be very, very relatable. So I'm expecting a lot of you typing a lot in the chat section and giving your responses. So I'll display the question here, I'll explain the question, and then I'll take your responses, okay? So examine the factors contributing to the emergence of a coaching culture in India. What justifies the necessity for overseeing coaching centers? Answer for 600 words, that is for 15 marks. Our answer will be divided into various parts according to the answer blueprint. It is criminal activity to start writing an answer without planning a structure. That will not take you anywhere. That will not help you get good marks in your exam. So what you have to do is follow this answer blueprint with a full-fledged introduction, main body and conclusion. Your answer should be divided into 3 parts, should have all the subheadings required. For those of you who feel that the English teacher has told to write in paragraphs, kindly follow that approach for English because they are testing your writing skills. And for ESI, FM and other parts of examination, for ARD, also for those of you preparing for NABARD, kindly follow this answer blueprint, and I'll show you how to write an answer according to this blueprint in the upcoming slides. So now displaying the question again, the first thing that you should start with is focus on the topic or theme that you have to write in the introduction itself. So here in the introduction, we'll be writing an overview of coaching industry or culture in the country. Here you'll have to mention how big the industry is, why is it so pervasive, and what can be done. Just basic information regarding coaching centers or coaching culture should be given in the introduction. Now moving on to body part 1, the reasons for emergence that has been asked in the first part of the question. That is your, that's the micro question or sub part of the entire question. You have to talk about it in the body part 1 itself. In the body part 2, what justifies the necessity for overseeing coaching centers? So that will be taken in body part 2, that is need for regulation. And finally, since there are so many problems involved, that why is this industry emerging, why is there a need for regulation, end your answer with a way forward. Give a nice conclusion, give a nice solution for whosoever is reading this answer. And this topic is going to help you a great deal for your interview as well, because you'll definitely be asked when you appear for interview that did you go for any coaching or not? Did you take any professional guidance to reach to this stage or not? And then you will be, questioned a lot around that topic. So now, before moving any further, let me just see the inputs that you are sending. Okay, hello Rohit, Neha, okay, good evening. Good evening all of you. So this is, something, a loop that we have prepared for you. So what happens is, basically in India we do not have a lot of meaningful employment opportunities. People who are graduating, taking their degrees from colleges, they are not readily employable. They're not readily employable. Secondly, the employment opportunities that are present in your country, they don't provide you with a long-term stability. You must be aware that Indian society or Indian parents do not regard the private sector as something that is very stable, or they are much attracted towards the government job side. So there is a coaching industry that is prevalent to guide you for government jobs, and there is another coaching industry that is prevalent to guide you or to provide training to you for higher educational institutions, for example IIT JEE coaching, NEET coaching. So all these, and there is this tuition level coaching centers also available. For example, students who are in 6th standard, 7th standard, who are young, who need to play, who need to interact with the people of their age. After school, these people are also attending a lot of strict tuition classes that leaves no room for their mental growth, physical growth, and stuff like that. So if you have to focus here, I'm giving you a gist of the coaching centers that prepare you for government jobs. So coaching centers are always in need of students, because the business model is, the more students you have, the more money you have. You just have to have one teacher for each subject. The more money you have, that means your business is expanding. So coaching centers in need of students, they attract students on the basis of false promises, or promises like, in 6 months or in 1 year, you will land up your dream job, or land into your dream university, or land or have a dream life. So false promises or fake promises of a dream life, which also come up with a time limit, because nobody wants to prepare for an exam for, let's say, 5 years, or nobody wants to prepare to get into university for 3, 4, 5 years again. So false promises of a dream life, they are given, and monetization of vulnerability of parents and students is done. That means money is demanded from them, and coaching centers, they're not they do not charge you small rates. They charge you very high fee for whatever course you're subscribing to. So that's very, very expensive. So monetization of vulnerability, like coming from the Indian economy, because you don't have a lot of stable job opportunities. So parents and students both, they are very much vulnerable regarding their future. So what they do is that they make that one-time investment, that if I buy this course or if I take coaching, probably I'll have a better life, or our child will have a better life. Then in the same examinations, the failure rates are very high because seats are limited. For example, for IIT JEE, IIT JEE or the JEE exam, the advanced stage and the other stage that occurs, there are not even 50,000 seats total, but more than 10 lakh students appeared for these exams. So where are other students going? And there is a lot of competitiveness. There are a lot of high fees charged from students to to give them that success, that promise of success. So what happens? Failure rates are very high because of the limited seats. And where do the failed students go? Either they land up into colleges or universities which cannot provide them with good employment or good education, or other students who are preparing for, let's say, government jobs, they end up without any jobs, and hence they become vulnerable again to the coaching centers, who are again in need of teachers who have experience of that examination cycle. So unemployed youth ready to work at low wages, either in the coaching centers or in some other similar avenues, or some other job opportunities that they're ready to take. So here I have a few quotes for you which have been taken from the Indian Express article, the screenshot of which was shown in one of the initial slides. So children are walking away from classroom teaching into coaching centers, often with parental support. This applies to school students who go for dummy admissions. That means they take admission in a dummy school and they don't have to attend classes. They just get a roll number for board exams, to sit for board exams. And on the other hand, what they're doing is full day, they are, subscribed with the coaching center. They're just going to the coaching classes, not attending school. The obsession with coaching will never be able to validate and strengthen new ideas, approaches, and research required for human flourishing. Now, my question here is that what was the last time when you could make good friends before college? Was it in school or was it in a coaching center? Coaching center promotes a very competitive environment. You can really not coordinate a lot with your peer group because everybody is in competition with you for that one seat that might be available for your class or people of your age group. So that is competition and cooperation, both are required in balance for human growth. So students go to school to become purposeful, reflective, and responsible. That's another quote that you can use. Then if coaching centers are going to be the foundation of these years, that means teenage years or young years, then the youth of today will become directionless. You can use such quotes in the answer. And children are suffering from anxiety and are unable to code because of flourishing of coaching centers and the competitive culture that is being motivated and supportive by this industry. So as a country, we need a shared vision where well-being is the goal of education and co-agency is a guiding light. So that's for you. Now, if you have to talk about introduction, you can start with one of these quotes. You can start with you cannot start with the diagram that I showed you in the previous slides because you will be mostly typing your answers. If you're writing an exam for which you have to write with a pen on a paper, then you can definitely draw diagrams. But here you just have to type, so use codes, use data. So coaching culture, let's talk about it, that it has become very pervasive, very prominent and very complex. So the first line talks about coaching culture generally. Don't start directly with data or with very, something which is very technical to understand. Keep your first line very, very light for the introduction. The coaching culture in India has evolved into a prominent and complex phenomena, very right, marked by the pervasive growth of coaching centers and the increasing reliance on such institutions for exam preparation. I hope you all agree with this. Secondly, now let's come to data. So the market revenue of coaching industry, kindly remember the approximate one. Or I'm giving you 2-3 data points here for the coaching industry. Remember just one of them and use them in your answer. So the market revenue of coaching industry in India in 2022, it was estimated to be around 60,000 crore. And that is from 2022. By now it must have, grown up, gone up exponentially. And this industry, it is growing at a rate of 7 to 10% each year. What is the rate of growth of your GDP? It's even higher than that, the rate of growth of coaching industry in your country. So its growth is projected to reach rupees 1,33,000 crore rupees by 2028. So that means it is growing, and guidelines here are very much required because so much money, so many aspirations are involved in that. But before that, coaching industry, since it is providing education, let's look at what national education policy has to say regarding the coaching industry or the coaching culture. So NEP 2020, it recognizes the harmful impacts of coaching culture, attributing them to the nature of secondary school exams, including board exams and entrance exams. So your national education policy says that coaching culture does not have good impacts on students, and this industry is mushrooming because of how our entrance exams are designed and how tough our board exams have become. Also, there are many fallouts in the school, in the education provided by school. So that's why this industry is very much mushrooming, and this is the viewpoint of national education policy, which you can use in your introduction for an answer on this. So as you know, we have to mention something about the guidelines that have been released by Ministry of Education in January itself. So briefly mention about them, and briefly mentioning about something current oriented in the introduction itself. It gives you the freedom to use any fact related to that in the further parts of your answer. So the examiner knows that you know about the guidelines. The guidelines for regulation of coaching centers issued by Ministry of Education in January 2024. First of all, they acknowledge that the number of unregulated coaching institutions has surged due to the absence of clear policies. Now you have mentioned here, you've mentioned the reason why these guidelines have been brought and what these guidelines said. Now you can come back to these guidelines anytime in your answer and talk about them indirectly. So now moving on to the next section, that is let's delve deeper. Here we'll talk about what are the reasons for emergence for coaching industry in India, and you have to give me the reasons that why do you think coaching centers are so much prevalent, why mushrooming of coaching industry online, offline or in any mode is occurring in India. So give me at least 5 good reasons. If you cannot come up with 5, at least write 2 which are personal to you, which are related to you, which you have felt during the course of your education and life. So please reply. Okay. It's EduTap caption. What do you expect me to say? Okay. Co-agency here. Okay, I'll come back to that. Ashwathi. Then kindly give me some reasons of emergence. Why do you feel that if you have ever needed coaching in your lifetime, or if any friend of yours has taken coaching, why do you think there was this need? Why the need of coaching was ever prevalent? Why was it there? So, sake of government jobs, yes, that is the coaching industry that is prevalent after you attain a, let's say at least 12th standard or level of education. So, yes, for the sake of government jobs, because government jobs, they come with a lot of stability, a lot of social security, which is not at this time prevalent in the private sector, because India is still a developing economy. We do not have the manufacturing sector stable. We do not have a lot of meaningful employment opportunities. And whatever employment opportunities are there which pay you well, they are available in just a few pockets of the country. So government jobs, they obviously, so yes, cutthroat competition is there. Because school education is not sufficient to clear competitive exams. Yes, that's right. The books that you get for your CBSE or any other board examination are the NCRTs. But to get into an IIT or to get into a medical institution, you need to have, higher order questions should also be practiced, higher order skills should be remembered by you, and these are not provided with the kind of books that we are following in the school, or the kind of education people are getting in the schools. So that's right. Cutthroat competition, Nandi, that's right. Aditya, Gomati have taken your responses. Wish towards a stable job, yes, Gomati. Societal expectations, Ashwati, yes, that's right. Instead of the society should be focusing on igniting creativity amongst kids. The society loves kids and children when they are young, when they are babies, but as the children, they grow older, the society starts to expect a lot of them rather than nurture their creativity. So that's right. High probability for success, yes, Sejal, to increase your probability for success, you need a coaching center. That's the belief. So sorry, psychology of following a ready-made material rather than own hard work, yes, sorry. And that hard work takes a lot of time, takes a lot of years, which are ready-made provided by the coaching centers. That means you save a lot of time because the competition is cutthroat. If you don't go to a coaching center, your competitor will, and they will get ahead in the race. So that's the problem of the entire setup that we have in India, not of just one individual or one type of community. It's the entire economic setup, education, employment, economy, everything related. So first of all, I have 6 reasons jotted down for you for today, and they will not be tough to understand. The first one is the competitive examination system. Because of the competition, everybody wants to be ahead in the race. So the highly competitive nature of entrance exams, such as JEE, NEET, where a vast number of students vie for a limited number of seats, creates intense pressure. Since you will be able to relate a lot of it with the government jobs, you can add the exams that you are appearing for or your peers might be appearing for. Here I have myself added just JEE and NEET. So as a result, students and parents turn to coaching centers to gain a competitive edge, and that time matters a lot. Time is your currency, and structured preparation for these challenging exams. The second one is societal pressure and expectations. One of you has given me that response. So significant value on success in competitive exams, that is how you are evaluated, how your intellect is evaluated or mapped, that if you are succeeding in these competitive exams, only then you are successful, or only then you are creative, or you can earn yourself a good living in future. So the prevailing belief that prestigious institutions and profession are the only markers of success exerts immense pressure on students to seek additional coaching for exams like these. Also, employment opportunities or placement opportunities are available only in a few higher educational institutions in India, and these are the IITs, the NITs, the medical colleges or other engineering colleges, that forces the students to gain admission into such institutes, no matter what the cost, financial, psychological, emotional, whatever is the cost. Health also. Then perceived inadequacies in school education. The other thing you can go for education is the other places. School, that is supposed to be default, by default that is going to be the place of education, but there are perceived inadequacies. Parents feel that school education is very much inadequate to provide a brighter future, or to provide a bright future for our children. So even when students are younger in 6th, 7th, 8th, they are always attending, mostly they are attending a private tuition, mostly for English, mathematics and science, 3 subjects. That is the ACER report that has said, ACER report 2022. So it said that. The second thing that parents see here is that Because of the inadequacies in school education, our child might not be able to crack competitive exams. So many students and parents perceive the traditional school education system as inadequate in providing the specialized knowledge and focused preparation required for competitive exams. So rote learning and exam centric approach in the school, that is what and there is a lack of conceptual clarity in school education, and coaching centers are perceived as addressing this deficiency by providing a more in-depth understanding of subjects, particularly in the context of competitive exams. Coaching centers don't provide you guidance for physical education or English when you're in 11th or 12th. They leave that on you. They feel that for mathematics and subjects of science, commerce, that is where focus is required, because these are technical subjects, and the entrance tests, they are mostly based on competence. They judge you for competence in these subjects only. Then parental aspirations and dreams. I hope this is very much clear. Parental dreams for their children to secure a seat in prestigious medical or engineering colleges. They contribute significantly to the demand for coaching centers, and the demand or aspirations of children to pursue just specific career paths. I think after 10th standard, you have to choose between one of the multiple streams that are available in the school that you are going to take admission into, whether that's medical, non-medical, commerce, or arts. And now you're all grown up since you're watching this video. Do you think that age is mature enough for you to decide a career for yourself for the rest of your life? Do you think the age of 15 or 16, mostly when students pass that 10th standard examination, do you think that is the correct age for you to decide your career? And do you think the school education system, the teachers, the parents, they support you a lot, or they give you a lot of avenues in choosing your career at that age? The answer could be different for all of you, but the question is very much omnipresent, that many of the people, they go for certain career paths because because either they don't know what's right for them, or they just know what they cannot do. For example, somebody who's not good at mathematics would not go for non-medical, or would go for commerce without maths, or would subscribe to arts or medical. So depending upon one's inadequacies, that's how students in India, they're making career choices, and that too at an age where they're not even trained enough to make those choices. All right, so aspirations for children to pursue specific career paths, it fuels the mushrooming of centers promising success in these competitive exams. Be done away with it, get successful, and then lead your free life that has been promised to us since childhood. Then unregulated growth and market forces. That's another thing. There are no regulations for the coaching industry. Even if you pay the full-time fee and you're not able to crack some competitive exam, there are no, there is no reprieve available. There is no you don't get your money back. The coaching centers or the teachers are not answerable to you. So the coaching industry, it generates substantial annual revenue, and growing at a rapid rate becomes an attractive market. So the lack of clear regulations and oversight allows coaching centers to mushroom. These centers, they're seen by businessmen as opportunities to make more money, not to build a dream life for students who approach them, or to take admission. Then venture capital investments. There is a lot of investment in this industry because there is a big level of return. It has been seen that Indian market, it is very much vulnerable to aspirations and dreams, and taking benefit of this vulnerability, coaching centers have been able to mushroom, and they still continue to see a lot of investment, so that more and more coaching centers can be opened and can expand in branches. So the coaching industry, it attracts investments not only from within India but also from venture capitalists abroad. And you might see cities like Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam, Chennai, Delhi, Kota. These are the areas, in fact Chandigarh as well, where coaching industry has mushroomed at a very high rate. Even when you go to tier 2 cities, you might see a very good brand name available that is providing coaching for IIT, JEE, NEET, for UPSC, for other examinations, banks, SSC. So mushrooming is happening at a very fast rate, and you need to decide what are the reasons for you. Now moving on to the next part, that is need for regulation. Meanwhile, I'll take the I'll take some of the updates that you have sent to me in the chat section. Till that time, by the time I read your responses, kindly answer the second part of the question in a set of few points for me in the chat section. What justifies the necessity for overseeing coaching centers? That means, why is regulation needed for the coaching centers? So Better and relevant exam pattern, material, test series, tutorials. Yes, Sejal, that's right. High probability for success. Absolutely correct, Sejal. Sorish has given 2 responses. Psychology of following a ready-made material rather than own hard work. I think I've taken this. Basically, it's entirely a structural problem. Yes, Sorish, that's right. And you cannot address this problem by just tapping on one side of the problem. You have to address the entire structure. And the best way to address a problem is to come up with new solutions, is to come up with better solutions. Let's say students are not allowed to take any entrance exam in which they are writing the board examination. Do you think students will have more window to appear for board exams and to take coaching separately? So that structure, small structural changes can come up. And if the teachers in the coaching centers, they are more qualified and their qualification is mentioned on the websites of coaching centers, don't you think students will be in a better position to see which coaching center to go for? And if there are dummy classes and after that the fee that you pay, that can be returned, or even if you give up on coaching in the midway, for example within 6 months, and then your half of the month, 50% of the money can be refunded, then small solutions, they provide you solutions for a very long run, and that acts as a way forward for the future generations to come. So now, what are the needs for regulations? I have jotted down 7 points for you. The first one is student well-being. We have seen a lot of suicides, a lot of anxiety cases among students, not just, and these are not the students who are very old, these are teenagers. So it has been linked to increased incidence of self-harm and suicides among students, because let's face it guys, coachings are very expensive to subscribe to. The fee is very, very hard, especially for courses which require long-term preparation. For example, if you have to sit for NEET or IIT JEE or the JEE exam, and you're wishing to go to another city, then you just do not have to pay the fee, you have to also pay for the living expenses, and these are very, very high. So when the students feel that we might not be able to bear this burden or bear this pressure, then ultimately the only solution they find is suicides or drug abuse or other practices that keeps the stress away and pushes them to study more. The guidelines which have been recently released, they recognize the negative impact on mental health and well-being. You don't have to mention this part, that what the guidelines are doing. You can mention this in the form of a bracket, but here student well-being, this is what is required for our country, and hence that is the first need that emphasizes, that is the first reason that emphasizes that there is a need to regulate the coaching industry. The second one is the misleading malpractices, the fee, the hidden fee, the qualification of teachers, the false claims that rank 1 has been produced by us, or half of the toppers have been produced by us in the past year, or just 1 year of preparation will make you the highest officer in a government office in a country. So the coaching industry, driven by competitive market, often resorts to misleading promises and advertisements to attract students. Many a times, even the toppers of previous year examinations, they are paid a very high fee or a very high honorarium so that they can give advertisements for these coaching centers. So these coaching centers are able to attract more students to run their business in the upcoming years. So no remedies are there for inefficient services. For example, the same institutes that promise 100% assured success, they do not provide any way forward in case of failure of students. So these are all misleading practices. The fee is not returned, transparency is not there. Then there are structural imbalances. So students forego traditional schooling for extensive coaching, and the aim of Indian education is not to replace school education with the coaching industry. It is not at all that aim. School education is very much required for holistic development of a child. Competition is necessary, but cooperation for human existence, for a healthy individual, that is our priority for the nation itself. So this leads to issues such as emergence of dummy schools and the isolation of students from holistic educational experiences. The fourth one here is exorbitant fees. That means the fee is very high and it creates additional financial burden, and there is no product that you get in return. There is no benefit that you get in return because the failure rates are so high. The guidelines have introduced penalties, including fines and cancellation of registration for the coaching centers who charge very high fee. So some fee might be set up by government in the upcoming years or the upcoming months, especially after elections, for various examinations for which coaching in your country is being provided. Then there is lack of transparency. There is a lot of opaque functioning of coaching institutes. Many a times Teachers are not regular. Poaching is very much prominent in coaching institutes. Teachers are not regular, they are not answerable, or they do not take ownership of the success of their students. So the opaque functioning of coaching institutes, including the absence of clear information on qualification of tutors. The teacher who might be teaching you a very technical subject, does he hold any degree or any qualification or the requisite aptitude to guide you for that? Because of the advent of digital technologies, it's very easy to reach a very great amount of audience, given the advancement of digital technologies and the population India has. So it's very easy to reach masses at this time, but honesty in reaching masses, and is there aptitude available with the teachers who are reaching these masses, or they're just employing certain practices to attract more and more students and hence earn more and more money? So all these that's very, very opaque. Then there is impact on social life of students. As I told you, in school there is a better social life that students have. There is more cooperation, mental health is very much better. So social life does get impacted. They often, because coaching centers, they demand excessive time commitments from students. There are daily practice sheets which are good for training your aptitude, but in the long run we need to find a balanced solution. Long classes, long hours of self-study, long hours of pressure. That is what the Indian education system and the coaching culture is right now motivating and perpetuating. Then there are qualification standards which are not set by coaching centers. They rely a lot on popularity, especially due to upcoming of YouTube channels, upcoming of other various platforms. So a lot is relied on popularity of teachers rather than their actual qualification. So now, if you have to provide a way forward, first of all, since you have these 7 problems, I would request that in your mind, think of all these 7 problems and provide a solution for each. For example, qualification standards, they should be set by the government, and they should be displayed on websites of coaching centers. There is impact on social life, so that's why regulation of hours of coaching that can be done by the government, that is also being proposed. Lack of transparency, bring transparent measures there, bring measures to enhance or motivate transparency, keeping everything very clear on the websites of coaching centers. Then exorbitant fees, there should be an upper cap on the fee by the government. There are structural imbalances. The government should bring in better policies and better measures to deal with these structural imbalances and misleading practices. And student well-being can be focused on by having an in-house psychologist or a counselor, or promoting co-curricular activities in the coaching centers itself, if these are facilities which have hostels and which demand a lot of time for students. Also a weekly break, for example on Sundays or Saturdays and Sundays both, that should be motivated. Then in the conclusion or way forward, you can provide state oversight. That means state governments must rigorously implement guidelines which have recently come up and which will be legalized in some time. Then public awareness, that includes awareness of parents, awareness at societal level, and for children also. Career counseling at the age where students have to decide whether they are opting for medical, non-medical, commerce or arts, any stream. That is the time when students need a lot of career guidance. And the new education policy, or the national education policy, tries to do away with it, so that decision that will drive your career, that can be delayed by a few years when you are more mature to take that. Then student well-being, prioritizing mental health by putting a daily limit on the class duration and mandatory weekly offs for coaching centers. There should be more transparency for tutor qualifications, course details and fees. Then there should be penalties for malpractices, and this should also include cancellation of registration. Now you'll have a separate registration for coaching centers, separate license for coaching centers. So life skills integration, for example, having extracurricular activities in the curriculum itself. Then revamp school education, because the loopholes of school education are driving more and more coaching centers. Then stakeholder engagement. Who are the stakeholders that are involved in the mushrooming of coaching centers? It's the policy makers, it's the parents, the teachers, the society, the teachers are there providing education, and the government itself. So better regulatory measures by taking into account all the stakeholders. Involve non-profit organizations who are already working in the field of free education. For example, Khan Academy, that's a non-profit of United States of America. So they're providing free education. Work with such stakeholders, NGOs, non-profit organizations, include them. Then regular audits, very much needed. The stick is always needed to keep everything under check. Then periodic review. Regular audits and periodic review can be assembled as one point only. And for the way forward, since this has not been asked separately in the question, hence you can write just one line or just give 10 points with the help of commas in one paragraph only, and then add few lines of conclusion. Make it just one paragraph. Don't write a separate way forward and a separate conclusion. In the conclusion, just summarize all the parts of the answer. That means in conclusion, the factors contributing to the coaching culture in India. Here we are summarizing first part of the question, that what are the factors that have led to mushrooming of coaching culture. So they are rooted in competitive examination system, societal expectations, and the unregulated growth of coaching centers. So you've summarized first part. The second part, the guidelines for oversight aim to address these concerns. The second part was, why are the guidelines or regulations needed? So you have given reasons. Now you're saying that the guidelines which have come up, they are required or they aim at addressing these concerns by regulating the industry, ensuring transparency, and prioritizing the mental well-being of students. And you know, the final solution is how rigorously any policy or any guidelines they're implemented in your country. How better, how strictly, how efficiently. So that's where all the success lies, and definitely use this line. So regulation is crucial to bring about a balance and prevent the sidelining of formal education, that is sidelining of school education. This is very much necessary. So however, the effectiveness of these measures will depend on rigorous implementation by state governments and a broader re-evaluation of the education system, of the entire education system, to foster holistic development and conceptual clarity. Also, I would suggest a point that we have not touched on is providing meaningful employment to the youth of the country, so that because coaching industries, coaching culture or the coaching industry is not flourishing on how will we provide you with a better package after you are at this age, or how will we provide you a better career guidance or better retirement plans. They're actually flourishing because most of the students in India, they find few educational institutions and few government jobs as the therapy for success, or as the foolproof solution for success. So the better employment opportunities that the government provides the youth with, the better economic growth that comes to India, that will definitely help in curbing this culture, or dealing with this culture. And that has to come up when we carry out structural transformation of education and industry that is prevalent in our country. So now I'm displaying the question again. Just to repeat, you will get the PDF for this discussion by tomorrow morning on our Telegram channel, and you can share your answers in the chat section, in the comment section under this video in the next 48 hours, that is by Sunday 5 p.m. and we'll provide you with free evaluation, entirely free of cost. So that's how this initiative proceeds. If this initiative has been helpful for you, then kindly let me know in the comment section. Please send your feedback. If you want to know about any of our courses, then kindly contact us at this number or this email ID. Day 67 discussion, that is payment banks, that will be premiered tomorrow on our YouTube channel at 2 p.m. Day 68, that is today, that is done. Day 67 will appear tomorrow on the YouTube channel at 2 p.m. and the link for that will be shared on our Telegram channel on time. So don't worry about missing out on the previous video that has not been aired, and you will get it tomorrow with the PDF. So thank you all of you for joining in, and I expect all of you to give me more responses in your answers. Also, if you have something additional to say about this topic discussion, then kindly mention it as a separate comment so that I can myself respond to that. Alright, I'll be happy to take the additional points you have to make here in this topic. And then let's join in on Monday. Tomorrow would be a recorded one. I will not be taking it live. So on Monday, I will be taking a live class with you with another important topic. Till then, complete these two topics and send your answers to this topic by Sunday 5 p.m. and to tomorrow's topic by Monday 5 p.m. You'll get 48 hours for that. So kindly do that on time. Okay, guys, and all the very best. And you're welcome, all of you joining in. Just repeating, tomorrow's video, you'll have time till Monday 5 p.m. Even if in the recorded video I mentioned something else because it was pre-recorded. So send your answers by that time. And for this one, Sunday 5 p.m.